Heavy rain and storms continue to develop across portions of our area. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi everyone, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo on this Wednesday. Hope you've been having a great day. Coming up, we've got to talk about some prolific heavy rain in portions of the viewing area, how that rain is going to potentially bring some flooding issues to not just one or two areas, but that opportunity could be fairly widespread. And then what this system is actually doing. Is there any chance that as it moves to the northeast, it could develop into something tropical? There is a ton of moisture with that. As we get started, thank you so much for liking the video. Of course, if you have a specific question about the forecast, all you have to do is drop it in the comment section below. So you're looking at the enhanced satellite imagery. It's very clear to see where we've had the blow up of heavy showers and storms on this Wednesday afternoon. That does include my friends in Jamaica, and I'm going to start there because we have widespread heavy rain and storms across the island. As a matter of fact, there is a thunderstorm warning island-wide and for all of the coastal and the offshore waters until 10 p.m. this evening. We've had waves of heavy rain, and there is some thunder and there is some lightning, so be very cautious being outdoors. And again, this is the entire island. This goes all the way from Negril and Savannah Lamar and Montego Bay to the central part of the island, Mandeville and Maypen, towards Kingston and Portmore and Spanish Town, and then the northern and the eastern coastlines, Ocho Rios, Port Antonio, all of Jamaica under a thunderstorm warning. We could see some localized flash flooding. We could see some rainfall totals over 50 millimeters. That's about 2 or more inches of rain just out of today. And again, this moisture is just situated over the island and it will continue to be very wet. If you live in this area, let me know in the comments section below. We've been waiting for some of this rain, but this is coming in buckets right now. So for my friends in Jamaica, hazardous weather, thunderstorm warning until 10 p.m. tonight. Again, that's the entire island and the near shore and the offshore waters. Heavy rain is likely, some areas over 50 millimeters. That again could lead to some localized flash flooding. And please be aware of the lightning threat when thunder roars, you head indoors. I'll keep you updated here, but again, the rain is going to be widespread. It's going to be heavy, and there is more of it on the way for tomorrow. I mean, you can just see how widespread this huge moisture plume is right now. We have some of that coming off of eastern Cuba. It's situated over the southeast Bahamas and portions of the Turks and Caicos, from Clarence Town towards Matthewtown to Dimension over towards the eastern side of the Turks and Caicos. This wave of heavy rain is going to be moving in. A lot of moisture laden in the air, and now this is beginning to drift back over Hispaniola. We've been mentioning this area a lot over the last week or so. Look at that blow up of storms over Lacai. It's moving into Port-au-Prince. It's sneaking into more of the Dominican Republic from Puerto Plata to Santiago de los Caballeros on over towards Santo Domingo and Punta Cana there in La Romana. It's going to stay wet, guys. Waves of rain, isolated storms, some potential for flash flooding in this area will continue. So again, just another wet afternoon across Haiti and the Dominican Republic. So again, if you live in this area, let me know, but still concerned about the landslide, mudslide potential, still concerned about the localized flooding that could go along with this. We're seeing more rain develop over Puerto Rico and portions of the U.S. and the British Virgin Islands as well. Switch on over here to the visible satellite imagery, and you can see that the clouds are thicker off towards the west, but also we're starting to see more rain develop here. And again, it's very clear to see that there's very disturbed weather in this area. We've got clouds moving in all different kinds of directions here, and we have a lot of lift and moisture in the atmosphere. As a matter of fact, if I go back over here and pop on the water vapor imagery, this is a big blow up of moisture here, and we'll talk about what this is going to do coming up, but that's very clear to see. So let's get over to my friends in Puerto Rico and talk about what's happening there. I'm going to switch over to the San Juan radar site on this Wednesday afternoon. That's going to pop on live for you right now. So at this point in time, we continue to see some showers develop. They've been a little bit more concentrated on the northern coastline today, San Juan, Vega Baja, on over towards Arecibo, eventually Isabela and Aguadilla. But again, the opportunity to continue to see some showers just develop across the region. Yabucoa, Humako, it's all going to stay wet. Right now, it's not concentrated enough to bring any big flooding potential. That's good news. There's rip current risks on our northern coastline. We've got ourselves some small craft advisories in effect as well. It's been a little bit drier lately for St. Croix and St. Thomas and St. John in the British Virgin Islands, but we've had downpours, and more of that is absolutely likely. Let me get back over to the broad perspective here and then zoom back in, and we'll get going. I'm going to swing back over to the visible satellite imagery as well. And as I'm doing that, I'm actually going to put on temperatures as well. So give me just 1 second here. I'm going to pop those temperatures on for you. And again, it's really going to be clear to see when we bring on those temperatures what we're seeing as far as rain goes. Obviously, when your temperatures begin to drop back down into the 70s, as we're seeing through a lot of Hispaniola, you know it's been a very wet day. Same thing on over towards Kingston. Look at that. Negril, Montego Bay, about 75. This is the impacts of that thick cloud coverage and the moisture. And obviously, again, as I've mentioned, it's been a little bit drier in the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Charlotte Amalie there in St. Thomas has been able to still climb to 94 today. We've had some spotty rain in the northern side of the Leeward Islands, and it is very spotty, but places like Antigua and St. Kitts and Nevis and Saba and St. Bartholomew and St. Martin, Anguilla, we'll continue to see the opportunity for passing showers. And this area is one I expect rain chances to actually be going a little bit higher as we get towards the weekend. So you can see temperatures there with those showers developing on this late Wednesday afternoon, nudging back down to the lower 80s. It's been the same pattern, I feel like, for the last several weeks. We get south of Guadalupe towards Dominica, and the rain and the moisture is just more limited in this area. Still could see a few passing showers. Martinique had one. We could catch a couple over Barbados. St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, even Grenada and Trinidad and Tobago all have a few showers as a possibility, but generally the moisture is much more limited in this area at this point in time, and overall the rain chances just aren't going to be as high. It's the same situation for the ABC Islands, where we've been mainly dry, looking for that moisture to come back in. On over towards Central America, again, we've had a few showers inland towards the western sides of both Honduras and Nicaragua, but it's been a mainly dry and hot forecast. Temperatures inland have been climbing up to near 100 degrees in a lot of spots in Nicaragua and Honduras, up towards Guatemala and in Belize City. They haven't even been able to get into the lower 90s today. San Ignacio is into the triple digits. It's going to be another very steamy, relatively dry forecast here. Cancun and Cozumel, it's been nicer, more fresh winds there. The Cayman Islands, that moisture is situated right over the eastern side of the Cayman Islands. So West End, better chance for rain compared to Georgetown for today. Now this moisture is going to be eking its way east, so the Cayman Islands will actually be drying out. And it's been another lovely day for my friends in the Bahamas. Now again, southeast Bahamas, very wet. Northwest Bahamas, mainly dry. We've had a few flare-up of showers and a couple of storms here real quickly. I'm going to throw on actually our composite radar, and let me get rid of that too, so you can see what I'm talking about on this Wednesday afternoon. We've had some showers develop. They have blown up very quickly, and then they've also come back down. We call them pulse thunderstorms, right? They flare up fast and they diminish relatively quickly. But we've had some over Andros. We've had some right over portions of Grand Bahama. You can see Freeport there, and West End and Lucaya and High Rock. Nice showers right over the island here on this Wednesday afternoon. Now they're kind of drifting off towards the south as they die out, but even on towards Abaco there in the Marsh Harbor area, we've had a couple of showers. Luther has been mainly dry, and I could see a couple of showers near the Nassau New Providence area as well. But again, very isolated, but we have had a couple of showers, and that rain chance will be in the forecast as well. So let's now look at the winds, because I want to keep that in mind as well. So back over to our wind gusts, and these are going to pop on and off. These are wind gusts over the last 6 hours. I first want to highlight Aruba. It's been dry, but they had a 37-mile-an-hour wind gust this afternoon. Curacao had a 32-mile-an-hour wind gust. Very breezy there. We've had some breeze through portions of the Lesser Antilles there. You can see on over towards Guadalupe, we had a 30-mile-an-hour wind gust on average. And again, the winds pick up a little bit more as you get to where this moisture is. Solid low to mid-20 wind gusts in the U.S. and the British Virgin Islands. Little 30-mile-an-hour wind gust there in San Juan. And then that rain is just moving across these areas. It's a big blow up of showers and storms for this area. When the rain got going there in the Montego Bay area in Jamaica, they had a 32-mile-an-hour wind gust. There is a lot of small craft advisories in this area at this point in time. Obviously, with this kind of wind, that's a situation that we're going to have to be dealing with. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is what is going to happen with this area. Look, we're the beginning of May. We talked about how we're going to see, more than likely, an early start to the hurricane season and a very active season as well. Let me get rid of the winds. So, is this going to become anything to concern ourselves with? I do not believe that this is going to become anything tropical. I think we're not going to have anything spin up out of this. That doesn't mean, though, it's not going to impact the area, because there is a ton of moisture and a ton of lift in the atmosphere, and we're already getting the impacts from the southeast Bahamas to the Turks and Caicos, eastern Cuba, Jamaica, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico. Very wet weather with this. Now, this is going to be tracking off to the north and to the east. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to pop on the wind gusts here over the next 5 days and loop that up. And give me just 1 second here to make sure I got the model right as I'm doing so. Oops, that's the wrong model. There we go. There we go. All right. Now we get back over to the wind gusts. Might take a second here. As we're doing so, you want to do me a favor and click that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet and you're looking for the latest forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas, you found your home. Welcome to Meteo Mundo. Thank you so much for clicking the subscribe button. All right, so let's loop up the winds and see what's going to happen with this puppy moving away from us. Again, one other reason I'm not highly concerned about this system is it's going to be moving off to the north and to the east away from the islands. It's still going to bring the area wet weather through at least Friday, but it starts to pull away. So you're looking at wind gusts, and again, I don't see anything spinning up here. I am way too far off towards the west. I apologize. I literally went over to Africa. I have to still work on this mouth. Sometimes it really is an issue. Anyway, so I'm going to let this loop up, and you can see that moving away. It's right there. It's not going to turn into much. I can actually switch over to the 10-meter winds. So basically what I'm doing is I'm looking at this system at a couple different levels of the atmosphere. Do I see any twist? Do I see any spin? Well, we see a very broad, kind of turn to the winds. But again, that's because we have this moisture coming in along this surface trough, and it's being funneled in from the south. And so it's very broad in nature, right? And again, you can just kind of see that beginning to pull away right there as it moves away. We'll pick it up again right there, and then it just kind of drifts. But you don't ever see it tighten up, all right? That's at 10 meters, about 30 feet up in the air. I can actually go up to look at 100 meters. So it's like, okay, it's not a low level twist. But do we have any rotation as we get a little bit higher in the atmosphere? And the answer, again, basically is no. And I apologize for this mouse. I'm going to probably throw this thing away after this video. But you can see, again, right there, it moving away. I've been watching this. I don't see anything much. We can look at what's also called vertical velocities. And I've mentioned this in other videos before. Basically, this is, do we have any lift in the atmosphere moving with us? So this is going to be 850 millibar vertical velocities. I'm going to put that into motion. We can certainly see the broad scale lift in the atmosphere. We pick that up. So what this means in the short term is lift of the atmosphere into the moisture, heavy rain in these areas. Nothing, though, that really spins up in abundance, and then you can see it start to track away from the area. It might take just 1 second for the model to fully load up, but you can clearly see that vertical velocity lift in the atmosphere. It's moving away from the area. Now you see this little spot right here behind it, not tropical in nature again, but this is why I talked about portions of the Leeward Islands getting back into more heavy rain, like Anguilla and Antigua and Barbuda as well. So again, there it is, tracking away, not really holding together after, say, about Saturday. So, I'll keep an eye on it, but not concerned about it becoming anything tropical. So let's get into the rain, because this is a big time concern of mine. And we'll look at the total precip coming up in just a second. Let me switch on over to the actual reflectivity. So a couple of things to talk about on this here, and I'm actually going to zoom into Jamaica to start with this, and then we'll get going from here. I do want to switch the model here real fast because I believe that the model I'm going to show you has a much better depiction of what's going to be happening. I do need to, let's see, disable that layer. I'm doing a lot of switching right now, so bear with me, and then bring back on reflectivity, and then extend this out. You know, when I do all these changes sometimes, the computer's like, you're doing a lot in one little video, but that's okay. It's what I want to do. You get the idea of how wet it's going to stay in Jamaica the next couple of days. So we have the thunderstorm warning until 10 p.m. tonight. And just look at this moisture axis right over the island. So heavy rainfall, some potential flooding rains are likely. And we're going to run back another high chance for heavy rain for your Thursday as well. We should begin to dry out beginning on Friday throughout the island, and then drier weather coming for the weekend. But we got a couple of days what could potentially be some heavier rain. Look, this is what's happening right now, and you can see how wet it stays through the evening. The rain may begin to lighten up a bit, but we could still have island-wide rain, at least in a lighter fashion, tonight and overnight, and then the moisture and the heat comes back into play tomorrow, and we flare up more showers and a few isolated storms. And this is tomorrow at this time, and you see how much green is still on the map. We'll begin to break apart the rain, as I mentioned, on Friday the 3rd, and then as we get towards the weekend, it's much more spotty. So for the Kingston area and really the entire island, 90% chance for storms the remainder of today, at least a 70% chance tomorrow, and I might be underdoing it. 50% chance for storms on Friday, drier weekend ahead, daytime highs that will stay in the 80s. By the way, stick around towards the end of the video. I'll have the island by island rainfall potential coming up as well. Let's get on over to what's going to be happening in Hispaniola. And again, an area that I've mentioned many, many times in the videos recently, and the green and the yellows and the oranges on the map and even some reds continue to provide that chance for heavy flooding rains across the entire island. I'm really not focusing on one spot. And the reason why is that this is such a large scale system, relatively speaking. There's not a lot of pinpointing going on here, guys. There's just a ton of moisture. It's going to be coming over then across the entire island. The Turks and the Caicos are going to be the same way as well, where the rest of today and tomorrow for the Turks and Caicos, extremely wet there. There could be several inches of rain. It should dry out a little bit quicker in the southeast Bahamas. But again, for the Dominican Republic, Santiago de los Caballeros, and Samana, and Azua, and Santo Domingo, and Punta Cana, we could have several more inches of rain between now and Friday. It's gonna get drier for the weekend, but it may not be completely dry as well. You can see as we get into Saturday, still the opportunity for some showers. All right, my friends in Puerto Rico, in the US and the British Virgin Islands, showers will continue. Now, the moisture content may not be as robust in this area, but you still see a lot of green on the map. There's not a lot of change until, again, at least Saturday. We just continue to funnel in that moisture. Eventually, the system pulls away, and we'll finally begin to dry out in this area, which is great news. Again, hopefully not persistent enough rains to cause any real big flooding issues again, but it's something I'm going to continue to keep an eye out for us here as we get into tomorrow and early on Friday. I do hope it begins to dry out a bit after that. Okay, so let's take a look at the rest of the islands here. And again, I mentioned the northern Leeward Islands, and you can see the rain beginning to come back in over the weekend. So spotty showers the next few days, but here comes another moisture plume from the south into the west coming back in, and rain chances will begin to creep up maybe late Saturday, but especially on Sunday, and then into early next week for the northern side of the Leeward Islands, the areas that I've already mentioned. And again, we might miss that moisture to the north from St. Lucia and Barbados south, but I do expect a little bit of tug of moisture coming in from the southeast. So overall, for the entire Lesser Antilles, rain chances going up a bit. Still a higher chance for rain in the northern half compared to the southern half, but the rain chances for Trinidad and Tobago will be out there, and again, especially for portions of Saturday and Sunday. Still an odd shower or two possible in this area the next couple of days. I can't rule that out. On over towards the ABC Islands. Again, we've had some really strong winds, and again, this moisture axis is going to move over the ABC Islands, so rain chances for Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao will continue to climb, and that is good news. And other coastal islands off of South America as well will continue to see a better opportunity for some rain. Now, I've mentioned all of the moisture for Panama and Costa Rica. At least at this point in time, some of that has dived south back into the Pacific, but there's more on the way. As I've mentioned for Honduras and Nicaragua, it's a mainly dry forecast. A couple of showers there west towards Tegucigalpa. Not a lot of rain for Belize or Belize City. Certainly looks like it's going to stay dry in San Ignacio, which means the near or or above triple-digit heat will continue. This is one area that's not going to have a lot of rain. As I mentioned for my friends in the Cayman Islands, you're right on the edge of the thick moisture right now, but it's moving away from your area, and you can just see that pull away. So actually, beginning tomorrow, you're going to begin to dry out. Very interesting forecast for the Bahamas. Again, much heavier rain to the southeast side of the Bahamas. But again, it's not like we're going to stay dry here. I'm going to switch over to the high-res model and then extend this out a few days and put this into motion. And what you're going to see on this high-res, and it does a much better job of picking up on kind of what's been happening right now, is generally speaking, we're going to have a few showers in the forecast each afternoon, the next couple of afternoons. They're going to be spotty, but they could produce some quick, locally heavy rainfall, maybe a quick quarter, quick half inch or more rain if you catch one of these. But again, they're going to still be fairly widespread. You can see that blow up a heavier rain down in the southeast Bahamas. And again, we get as far north as, let's say, Nassau and Marsh Harbor and Freeport and the Bimini area, Walker's Key included. It's just much more spotty in nature the next few days. We'll have a couple of passing showers here and there, but nothing, again, widespread. But we did hit a couple of bullseyes this afternoon, didn't we? Including right in Grand Bahama. So how does the rain chance look in your area the next 3 days? For the Northwest Bahamas, limited, but a few downpours are possible. Belize City, a couple of morning showers, otherwise dry. Antigua and Barbuda, rain chances going up, especially beginning on Friday, more than likely through the weekend ahead. I'll be monitoring that. 60% chance at least. I mean, I might be conservative with that for the Dominican Republic, but it's still more about the amount of rain you might see rather than the actual rain chances, because you know those are going to be high. Barbados, I might be actually giving you guys too much credit for the 30% chance for rain tomorrow and Friday. Same thing for Trinidad and Tobago. It might be more like 20, but I do think more moisture is returning to the area. And for Puerto Rico and the British and the U.S. Virgin Islands, high rain chances, more showers than anything else. Hopefully no flooding concerns there. That would be certainly something to monitor. But again, I'm a little more concerned about areas off towards your west. Okay, how much rain could fall in your area over the next 5 days? Again, not a tropical system in nature, but rich moisture in play and some extremely heavy rainfall totals. Nice little bullseye over Jamaica. We talked about getting more rain here, so here you go. Let's bring on our query tool and we can take a look. Again, over the next 5 days, what are we looking at here? Let me see if I can get more than one on at one time. That would be nice. Does the query tool want to behave today? There we go. All right, so I'm just going to paint on a couple of areas here and then we'll take a look at it. When you get into the whites, you're over 2 inches of rain. The pinks are between 1 and 2, and the purple is right around 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Solid rainfall totals across the entire island. Again, I don't really want to favor any one spot. You can see that even that white area is a good chunk of the entire island. So just get ready for wet weather there. What's it going to look like in the Dominican Republic and Haiti? And again, the model continues to just paint on some extremely high totals. Still might be a little bit lower along the immediate coastline. It still wants to favor inland locations for that 4 to 5 inches of rain, but this is just a lot of water, guys. It's a lot of water in a very mountainous area where mudslides and landslides are potential because of that. Even Lakai gets up to around 2 inches of rain. Healthy totals, wet weather, big old tropical downpours there. Look at this bullseye, by the way, just southeast of Cockburn Town. Hopefully it stays out in the open waters, but it's over 6 inches of rain. Matthewtown, maybe 4. I'm going to say 2 to 4. No problem in the Turks and Caicos between now and Friday morning. Same thing for the southeast Bahamas. It's maybe not as widespread heavy, but if we catch that right rain over those slivers of islands relative to the larger ocean, you're going to get 2 to 4 inches of rain there. For my friends in Puerto Rico, again, maybe not 3 to 5 inches of rain, but these are just solid rain totals. Wet again. Esperanza, Fajardo, Culebra, 2.5, 2 inches of rain. St. Croix, Christiansted, Charlotte Amalie, Cruz Bay, Virgin Gorda, Road Town, 1.5, 2 inches of rain. Solid numbers. Anguilla, over 1 inch of rain in a couple of spots. Barbuda, Antigua, again, we're going to average these, but let's say a good healthy inch of rain in this area. There will be locally higher amounts than that. Same thing for Guadeloupe. As I've mentioned, you get south from Dominica towards Martinique and St. Lucia and Barbados, and the rain totals just aren't as prominent. Still doesn't mean you're not going to get a downpour. That helps you out a bit, but we're just not going to have the widespread rain that provides, 30 to 50 millimeters, let's say, or 1 to 2 inches of rain. It's going to be much more in the quarter to a half inch total. Nice little plume of moisture, like I said, right over the ABC Islands. Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao could use this. It would be great to get them right around an inch of rain over the next 5 days. So solid totals there. And again, you can tap into this. You see that coming right in here, and all of that's going to spread into the Leeward Islands beginning on Friday. So it all kind of comes together, doesn't it? As I've mentioned, the western side of the Caribbean is much drier. Not much to talk about there as far as rain goes. Maybe a few showers along the coastline. That would be about it. And then for my friends in the northwest Bahamas, again, a couple of patches of heavier rain, but overall, you catch 1 or 2 showers the next few days. You get a tenth, you get a quarter, maybe you get up to a half inch of rain. Did we exhaust it? I think we did. Friends, you can find us on a lot of social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. We've got an email address. You want to send me a picture or a video, myMediaMundo@gmail.com. Once again, you have a specific question about the forecast, just drop it in the comments section below. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate you greatly. You have a great and safe rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you soon right here at Meteo Mundo.